Hello everybody, welcome back to Mark's Beer Reviews. Today we have got a beer from a brewery that divides opinion like no other. I know there's a few sort of notorious breweries out there, but we have got, I say notorious, do I mean notorious? Maybe in the beer world, but we do have one of the most controversial breweries out there at present, especially after the Dispatches documentary. It's Brewdog, there we go. This is a can of their Silk Road. It's a mango and lychee hazy IPA in a 440 can at 6.5%. I got this beer out of Morrisons. I believe it was about £3. I lost the receipt. You can't get the prices from the internet anywhere. But yeah, I ran about £3. This beer has been doing the rounds on Instagram and everything else. And this beer, like the brewery, is dividing opinion according to Instagram. I'm not going to let any of that get in my head. This is entirely my opinion. So yeah, let's get it in a glass. Let's not talk. We all know all the Brewdog thing. I've said it a few times with the Brewdog beers that I've reviewed. We don't need to go there again. What I will say is actually on the Brewdog thing is I only buy these for the channel. I only buy these because I know they're popular and I know that you guys will be looking to buy them and you might even care what I think about it. If you do, great. If you don't, doesn't matter. Right, let's get this can open then and into a glass. There we go. Nice bit of smoke on the can opening. Let's get her in the glass. There we go. I have to say, that looks absolutely bang on. It's straw, it's hazy, it's losing its one finger white head. I feel with the amount of, well, I say with the amount, I don't know. I'm going to guess with the mango and lychee puree, whatever they've put in here, this head's going to dissipate relatively quickly. Let's get a nose then. Yeah, mango. I've eaten lychee a couple of times. Wouldn't necessarily be able to pick out the aroma of lychee. I know the taste, but maybe not so much the aroma. There is a super sweet smelling something in there, and it's not the mango. I'm going to probably say that's the lychee. It smells super, super sweet. Getting no malt, no hop really out of this, unless the hops are backed up, unless the hops are kind of got the characteristics of mango and lychee in them. Everything's being dominated by that sweet mango. It almost smells like mango sorbet. So don't think fresh mango here. Think a sugared mango. You know, a sorbet is going to be stacked full of sugar. It's going to be based upon mango, of course it is. But yeah, this is a sweeter mango. Overall, it actually smells alright. A lot of people have been bashing it on Instagram. Like I say, it's going to be totally independent, but overall, it smells pretty kind of tropical and refreshing, is probably what I'd say. Let's go in then. Cheers, everybody. Oh, there's a weird bitterness at the end. There's a very weird bitterness at the end. My head spun. I'm going to go in again. There was a weird bitterness at the end there. Oh, right. What I will say is the beer initially tastes really good. I say it's good. It's refreshing. Is it a beer? Well, you probably are pushing more towards that kind of the real fruity beers. You know, the real kind. If a Belgian brewery made a mango fruit beer, it would taste very much like this. I'm getting no amount of malt or hop character out of it. There is a weird astringent bitterness towards the back end. Very lightly carbonated. It's quite pleasant up to that point, and then there is a weird bitterness that takes over. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. And I know it's not mango, but it's the same. Does anyone remember Kia Ora orange squash? It would taste all right, and then all of a sudden this weird sweetener, saccharin, aspartame, sweet bitterness, meant to be sweet, but it's not really all that sweet, and it ends up being quite unpleasant. That's the way this beer finishes. Bit of a lingering aftertaste, but the bitterness just dominates the whole tongue. I just literally feel like this bitterness is everywhere inside of my mouth. It tastes all right initially. It tastes all right. Obviously, I'm not going to stand here. We know it's a Brewdog beer. We know what they do. We're aware of what they used to do and now what they do. It was £3, which weirdly by supermarket standards, especially in terms of this Morrisons drop, £3 for a full 40 can. It's not that expensive, really. Don't get me wrong, it's more than a can of Carling. But in terms of the craft beer world, if this can be called craft beer or from a craft brewery, that's not all that expensive. But there's a weird bitterness in there. There is that weird Brewdog twang at first, but the sweetness of the beer takes over. The mango and lychee really start to dominate. And there is that weird bitterness. I don't know. It tastes all right initially. It tastes all right, and then I'm aware it's a mango and lychee IPA. You know, I don't think you can look at this. It's not. You know, getting its hops. It's not getting its flavour from tropical hops. It's obvious. It's mango and lychee. It's obvious. So I can let that go. I know it's going to be sweeter than normal and everything else, but there is it's dominating. It's yeah. I don't know. I think it was. Is it a good beer? Not really, because a good beer is good all the way through. It's a beer of two halves for me. Number one, I will say, don't buy this if you haven't got a sweet tooth. All right, don't come at me if you bought this beer and you didn't like it because you should have a sweet tooth. If you have a sweet tooth, it really is a beer of two halves. So you start with those beautiful tropical mango and lychee flavours, and then very quickly this weird bitterness comes in and takes over. I can see. I don't want to judge people, but I will judge them. I don't want to judge people, I will judge them. I don't want to judge anybody that buys Brewdog beer or Brewdog's clientele or their market. But if you've had a mango-y tropical IPA before, this is miles off. But having said that, they're not aiming it at that person. They're not aiming it at your bottle shop. They aren't going to get people out of bottle shops buying Brewdog beer, especially nowadays. They're looking at the real mainstream people that, quite frankly, don't care about the politics. You know, they look on a supermarket shelf, the branding gets them, the Brewdog's got this name, and they buy it. A beer purist. I'm not that I would call myself a beer purist because I'm probably not that. My palate's not tasted enough beers. Well, I've had many beers, but it hasn't tasted thousands upon thousands to really be a beer purist. But a beer purist or a beer enthusiast may look at. I can see why it's getting a bad thing. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I can see why it's getting some criticism. This beer. Equally, I can see why a lot of people would like it because it does taste pretty decent initially, and then it's this weird bitterness takes over, and it lingers in the mouth, and it feels like your mouth. It's got this weird sticky bitterness in your mouth after. It's strange to explain. That's really good. And then now here's the bitterness. It's almost like a overly metallic. You know, we've talked a lot about beers being metallic, like, oh, that's metallic or whatever. It's like an overly metallic. It's probably like sucking on a 2p piece or a mouthful of coins. You get that rasping bitterness. It's horrible. That's kind of what this beer's got at the end of it. I've seen some of the criticism on social media because this beer's been out a good few weeks now, maybe even towards a month. Is it warranted? if you're going to look at it from just this can and put it up against other cans of craft beer, because Brewdog do call themselves craft, or do they call themselves craft anymore? Fiercely defiant and independent. But I think they're certainly considered craft in the grand scheme of things by some anyway. If you're going to put this up against other craft hazy IPAs, it is an absolute mile off. It's a mile off. There's no real character in here. This could be a hop. You probably wouldn't even know if this beer's got hops in it or not, because there's no hoppy bitterness, that nice piney resinous bitterness at the back. There's none of that here. It's all just it's strange. It's strange, the bitterness. But like I say, I've said it a million times now. The sweetness at the front really is actually quite enjoyable. It's just a shame what's left behind. And I presume that's the puree concentrate thing that they've put in. Has it got sweetener in it? Don't know. You'd never know. Yeah. Not for me, I'm afraid. But like I say, I can see the appeal of it. And I can see why people have been enjoying it on social media. Equally, I can see why people haven't been. Let's have a look at the can then. The road is long and fruity. And weirdly bitter. What's it got on here? Ingredients. Water, malted barley, torrefied wheat. What makes wheat torrefied? I don't know. Farmers, help me out. Get in the comments. What is torrefied wheat? Malted oats, hops, yeast, natural flavourings. Yeah, that's the one that you know. God knows, loads of sort of foreign writing on there. 6.5%. Does it taste 6.5%? That's something I haven't talked about actually. I normally talk about the alcohol level in relation to the beer. I've been so put off by that weird bitterness. Or some Tanatu beers, I've been so put off by why it was quite alright and then it didn't end up quite alright. No. Maybe 0.5%. Maybe 5.5%, 6% maybe, but no, 6%. So it tastes lower. Oh, that bitterness. Oh, no, I'm not into that bitterness at all. It really is a tale of two beers for me. I can see the appeal. It does what it says in the tin because it is Lychee and Mango Hazy IPA. It does, well, I say it does what it says in the tin at the start. Halfway through, it gets a little bit weird. For that reason, I'm going to split it down the middle. This is a 2.5 out of 5 from Mark's Beer Reviews. Thanks very much for watching, guys. If you've had this beer, let me know what you think in the comments, because this beer has divided opinion like no other. Seriously. Well, I'll say this brewery is, the brewery is obviously doing that, and this beer's doing it as well. Social media is rife with people loving it and rife with people hating it. What are your opinions on it? I thought it really was a tale of two beers. And if you wouldn't mind liking the video, I'd appreciate it. It just pushes the video out to more people, and yeah, more people watch it and get involved. And yeah, there we go. And hit the subscribe button, guys, as well. We're well over 300 now, so thank you so much. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, this is the first video I've made since knowingly going over 300. I think it's the first video I've made, but if I haven't said before, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do appreciate it. I'll leave you to your evening, guys. Thanks very much. Cheers.